Barkcloth is a special material in Africa made from the inside of the bark of certain trees. It's been used for, of course, a really long time in different countries and communities in Africa. They use it in various ways. Of course, in this video, I would like to bring out the fact that this material is not, of course, found in every African country. There are just a few specific countries, but those specific countries are the ones who have made it useful in their communities. So this video will look at how people in Africa use barkcloth and why it's important to them. First, let's talk about the history of barkcloth. People in Africa have been making and using barkcloth for many years. I mean, of course, some of you might be hearing about barkcloth today, but it's been there for many years. They get the inner bark from specific trees like ficus and morus. Getting the barkcloth here in Uganda, we don't get it from ficus, we get it from a tree called omutuba. So it's a local language word that is called omutuba. Getting the bark needs skill, so the tree isn't harmed. So you need proper skill on how to peel off that outer layer of the tree, so that you don't damage, so that you don't destroy. Because this tree has to keep on producing. It has to keep on producing bark for years and years. This tradition of making barkcloth, of course, has been passed down through families, connecting the material to the culture and history of African countries. Now, why is barkcloth important culturally? Well, it's like a canvas for stories in art. People use barkcloth to make patterns and designs that have special meanings. I mean, we tend to attach meanings to the clothes we put on, the shoes, the houses we live in. We put meaning on the cars we drive. These patterns, of course, of barkcloth often show things about their beliefs, their rituals, and how their society works. So it's not just about looking nice, it's about telling the story of who they are dealing with and where they come from. One of the main ways people use barkcloth is to make clothes and special outfits for ceremonies, because it's lightweight and lets in air. It allows you to breathe. It allows the body to breathe. It's good for making clothes. Of course, these clothes, it would depend on you who puts on the cloth. Is it comfortable? Clothes that are comfortable to wear and in different weathers. But of course, in Africa, we don't put it on these days, because who would like to put on a barkcloth moving around? It's not so common to see people putting on clothes. So these clothes become important symbols during ceremonies, showing a connection to traditional and cultural values. Besides clothing, barkcloth is also used to make useful things like special objects for ceremonies. People make baskets, beautiful. They make really beautiful baskets. They make beautiful masks and other things that play, important roles in their rituals. These objects add a special touch to religious events, ceremonies, and of course, other people use it as important moments in their community. To continue, as you can see, we are using this barkcloth in my art. Additionally, barkcloth is also used to decorate the insides of homes. In many African houses, especially in rural areas, people use barkcloth to make their walls look nice and decorative and more appealing. The material's nature, feel, and colors make homes warm and give them a unique cultural touch. There are many countries in Africa that have lost touch of their cultural values. So maintaining cultural values is very key in this generation that we are in. Of course, barkcloth and making use of barkcloth is often a shared effort bringing people together and making them proud of preserving their culture. To sum it up, in conclusion, of course, I wouldn't want to conclude right now because when I begin talking about barkcloth, there's a lot that we use barkcloth for. Barkcloth in Africa is more than just a material, it's a cultural treasure. It's been part of the African history for a long time and is used in different ways, from clothing and special objects and decorating homes. Barkcloth, because barkcloth is a very, very vital part of African culture, telling stories and connecting people to their roots. You know, when you observe, you realize that we've lost touch of our roots. We've lost touch of what our great great grandparents used to use to survive on earth. Now, the only way we can preserve all these cultural artifacts is by creating art pieces from them, is making them more and more decorative, making them more and more appealing. In this video, you will see that when I'm using barkcloth, I don't just use it plain, because with its natural brown color, it may not be so appealing. So what I try to do is to make sure that I involve other materials that brighten it up, that bring value to it. So you'll see that I use basically African materials like kitenge. Kitenge is an African fabric that we use here in Uganda. It pops up, most especially on ceremonies like weddings, like parties. Ladies tend to put them on and they look so colorful. Even gents, I don't want to rule out the gentlemen. They might be like, hey, what are you talking about? We also put on kitenge. So I basically use different materials so that I can enhance the art piece, so that it doesn't look dull. So as I told you in the beginning, that I use different materials. I use sisal. I use different colored buttons. I also got a chance of using some washers. I try to embed different materials on these artworks. And I also like recycling. Most of my artworks are more into recycling, using natural materials, and that's kind of my niche. Though I really don't want to be so much put in a box when I'm creating. I really want to be versatile. So that's why you realize in most of my artworks, today I might work on a painting. The next day I'm working on a pair of sandals out of recycled tire material. Then the other day I'm making a bracelet out of leather. Then the other day I'll be making a lampshade out of bamboo. Then another time I could be making a lampshade out of loofah. I like playing around with natural materials and recycled materials. When you look around various artists, you'll find that the internet and social media has kind of killed our creativity. There are times when you spend a lot of time on the computer or on your gadget, on the phone, and by the time you realize that you've spent too much time on your gadgets, it's too late for you to create at all. And since there are so many ideas on the internet, sometimes our creativity is killed. So there are times when you have to switch off that gadget, to turn off that internet, and go to your art room, go to your studio and create. So that's what I try to do these days, because I remember like a few months back, I've been so much on internet trying to see. Sometimes I go on internet not to copy what other people are doing, but to see what people have already produced, so that I can produce differently. It's not good to be in a market where everyone is producing almost the same thing. We have to be different. We have to create things that are appealing to our customers. If you produce a product that a customer doesn't like, of course no one is gonna buy it. We as artists, you tend to realize that there are times when you're in your studio and you produce something that looks so appealing to you. But much as that art piece is appealing to you, do you think it will be appealing to the customer? Will it capture the customer's eye? I mean, we've studied art, we've gone through all the principles of art, but there are times when you have to break those rules of art so that you can please your customer. I know there's a lot that goes on the internet where people say create something that makes you happy, but if your intention is to earn a living from art, sometimes you have to divert. You have to take a detour from the norm so that you can capture people's attention, capture people's hearts. And it's very important. Much as we are making money, I know we produce to make money, to make ends meet, to pay bills, but is your artwork speaking life to the customer? I like it when my art that I produce is used as a tool to mend relationships. There are times when I produce bracelets that have to do with love. I mean, some customers might come to your workshop or to your studio when they are at the verge of breaking up. Have you ever produced an artwork that will mend that relationship? Produce a bracelet that speaks to the other person's spouse. I like producing work that speaks life to people, not just producing an art piece that will look so appealing on the wall, but when someone enters the room, like, do they get goosebumps when they look at your art piece? Do they get inspired? Do they get encouraged? Is there happiness? Are their faces lit when they look at your art piece? That's a very, very, very important key when you're producing an artwork. Just to make sure that you're producing value. Value is so key. Remember, as an artist, you're in this for life. You're created to be an artist. You're created to be a creator. So at times you have to make sure that you do not create just for the sake of creating, but build a legacy. Are we building a legacy or creating a legacy for our children, for our great grandchildren, such that when we are no more, people will say, such and such an artist produced such and such an artwork, but it still speaks life to people. It still encourages. When people look at it, they get inspired to create. They get motivated to move on in life. So, as an artist, we should have it in mind that, we are here for life. Art is here for life. Art is in us for life. We are meant to create. We are here to create. There's nothing else we can do apart from creating. So whatever we create, I know there are times when I myself create things and they look so appealing to me, but to the customer, they are not appealing. Of course, there are discouragements here and there in art. You produce a bunch of art pieces thinking that once you post it maybe on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, you're going to get like thousands of likes. But to your surprise, you get like 10 likes, 5 likes, and you're like, this is my best artwork that I've produced this month. Why are people not liking it, So when you're producing, just know that whatever you're producing might not be appreciated by everyone, but at least there will be those few that will appreciate what you're doing. So giving up should never be an option. Throwing in the towel should never be an option, because, as they say, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So the one beholding your art piece that day might not be the one to buy your artwork. Maybe the one who's to buy your artwork will come in maybe next month or the other month. We just keep on producing, such that when opportunity knocks, we are ready. Opportunity only comes to those who are ready. in your studio? Are you ready? When we look through your gallery, are we ready? Recently, I and my family decided to shift, to move from a house which was somehow small, and we got a bigger house. And the main purpose for this bigger house was to create space for a gallery. So we've turned our home into a living space as well as a workspace. So right now my production levels have really gone high because this place that I have is quite huge. Most of the rooms are quite huge, and it's my mandate to make sure that I fill up these spaces with artworks. So there's no room for relaxing. There's no room for sleeping. There's no room for taking things for granted right now because I have to produce. And very soon I'll be having an exhibition, calling people to come over and buy my artworks. So my purpose is to make sure that whoever comes to our art space doesn't just appreciate, they are forced to buy because of what we've produced. So there's a lot that I need to put in, a lot of reading, a lot of research, because people have seen my art over the years, and you never know who might be showing up on that exhibition day. It could be one of your customers who have been loyal customers for over 10 years. Are they going to find the usual art pieces that you've been producing for over those 10 years? Or they're going to find something new? They're going to find something different? They're going to find something that takes them to another level? So it's quite tough having a gallery. It's quite tough having a workshop. But who has ever made it in life when they're sleeping? We always wake up, we always go to work, we always push towards our limits. You just keep on pushing yourself. I produce my works alone in my small workshop. Maybe in a few days time I'll be giving you a tour of my studio. It's not so big, it's quite small, but I like spending time in that workshop. I get a lot of inspiration, and I like working in an art space that has a lot of materials around me. When you look at my studio, I tend to have materials scattered around me. Not that I'm shabby, not that I'm dirty, but at least I want my table to have many materials such that when I'm creating, an idea pops up, I don't have to stand up, then go to the shelf, go to the drawers to pick a material. I just want to look around and I spot a material that I can easily put on my artwork. So I make sure that I have materials around me. I have those recycled materials, pins, I have buttons, I have wires, I have nails, I have paper, I have cloth. All those materials can easily enhance your artwork. Just throw it around in safe places where you can easily spot them, and not to make your artwork, your studio, shabby, but being intentional that in that corner I have some buttons that could rhyme with my artwork. In the other corner there are some wires that I can easily fold around, and in the other corner I have a few nails that I could easily maybe chop in the middle and create an impression. Maybe it's because my art tends towards recycling and upcycling. So that's why I have a lot of materials around me, so that I can create easily, so that when ideas pop up, I don't lose them. It's very easy to lose an idea once it has popped up, just the way people normally write down ideas in their diary when they've gotten an idea. In the same way, we artists have to always have a mind that is ready. Is your environment, is your working environment ready to capture that idea? Don't allow that idea to run away from you, because normally it knocks once and it doesn't. Once you lose it, it's gone. So I love doing it. I love doing it in that way, and I've seen, it doing wonders for me. When you look in this video that I'm, showing you guys. Of course, I've not had a chance to move my camera around for you to see the materials that are around my table, but there are quite a few materials. As you can see, that there are some copper wires there. There are some, as you can see, I have some washers there. I have some hammer, and other things that I use just to make sure that I'm ready. I'm ready when that idea comes in. I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker. Please bear with me if I sound like a motivational speaker. But I'm just, I'm just taking you on a ride as I'm creating this artwork, so that we can have a conversation, so that I can speak to you, so that I can, maybe if you're in your sitting room, maybe if you're driving, maybe you're in your bed lying down resting, just to hear my voice speaking to you as I'm creating my artwork, the materials that I use, where I pick my inspiration, how I do it. I'm just trying to have a conversation. It's not really a motivational speech. I hate to sound like a motivational speaker, because I'm not one. I'm not good at motivating people. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for staying around on my YouTube channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, so that whenever I produce something, you get that notification that, hey, there's a new art piece that is being produced, there's something new that is coming up. And make sure you go on that top part where it says all, so that all the videos that I produce could easily pop up, so that you can support my channel. And please subscribe, like, leave a comment where you think I've done wrong. Please don't hesitate to support a brother, so because we are here to support each other. Even in this art industry, in this production and creative industry, we keep on learning each and every day. There are lessons to learn. Every now and then there are people you bump into and they teach you something. Even kids. I remember in 2012, when I was still a teacher in some school, I used to pick a lot of ideas from the kids that I was teaching. They would come and they say, hey, I have an idea. Can we produce something like this? And once you try to produce what this child has given you, you end up producing something fabulous. So it's not good to despise anyone. We learn every day. We improve every day. We get motivated every day. And I'm so happy to be on this journey of producing and creating content on YouTube, so that I learn, so that I get to pick more and more ideas from the people who view me, from the comments I get in the comment section. So please endeavor to comment. Please comment, so that I get boosted, so that I get encouraged, so that I get inspired. And I'm up to any correction, you guys, that any correction that you have for me. I'm ready to receive any correction. I love you so much, and continue following my videos, continue seeing my videos. As you see them, you're basically supporting me. See you next time in the next video.